Hi guys, thanks for clicking onto In the Stands. Hope you're well. We had a delirious episode, I think, today. I don't know whether what we had in our breakfast, if we didn't have breakfast,
I
but
think it's the
something
heat.
clearly happened.
Yeah, I think it's the heat.
Or the heat, yeah, I
It's
think
too
we might have
hot.
heat treatment. But so if you want to hear some ludicrous predictions, some crazy theories and some
Amazing
stupid
stats.
decisions, then
Aerial duels.
yeah, well, go on, Mikey. What was the most stupid thing said this episode?
Predicting games on aerial duels and battles won in the air.
I would say the
that
stupidest
probably is.
thing was would Newcastle owners back Pochettino over Steve Bruce more? That was the
Well, they
stupidest
backed.
comment.
Well, no. They backed him over Rafa Benitez.
Rafa Benitez.
So
Yeah.
it's not the most ridiculous thing, to be honest with you.
And Harry, so anything else people should listen out for before they do listen to you?
Well, if Jamie doesn't listen to half of it, then I don't know why they should. But I think most of it was good fun, good stats left, right, and centre. So
Yeah.
I think today is a good episode to be fair.
Yeah. Well, there you go. It's got Harry's seal of approval. Go and have a listen to it now. Hi guys, welcome to In the Stands. Hope you enjoyed the football yesterday. It would have been. Who did we have? There was 5 games. We treated to 5 games, so we can talk about all
Crazy.
5 games that played. So it's me, Ollie. I've got my normal co-host with me, Jamie. Enjoy the games, Jamie?
I obviously went 4 at the same time. I can only watch one, and I
Yeah.
thankfully picked the United game, which was a bit more eventful than the others.
Yeah, it's a good choice, wasn't it? Harry, now you did mention you were going to watch all of them at the same time. Were you able to complete that feat, or did you fall down?
Because I don't have BT, I was only able to watch twice, 2 at once. But it was the Man United game and it was the Norwich game. So probably 2 of the better games. Maybe the Newcastle game was better than the Norwich one. But yeah, it was a good day of football, especially the last game as well, which I imagine we'll talk about first after you introduce everyone.
Yeah, definitely. And we got Mikey as well. Mikey, which games did you catch yesterday?
Well, the good thing is I only caught Liverpool against Palace. So if that's the first one we're going to talk about, happy days.
Let's do it. Let's talk about the Liverpool game. Fairly comfortable for Liverpool, it seemed like. Palace put up a decent fight, but they were basically stripped down by Liverpool. This is a question that I wanted to ask. Who do you think was more clinical? Liverpool 4-0 versus Palace or City versus Burnley? Who do you think were more clinical? Because I think Burnley was slightly worse in their defence near the end. Whereas I think Palace did set up pretty well. But just comparing the two, because obviously we're going to probably see them playing against each other for the title. Who do you think out of those high-scoring games were the most clinical?
I think Palace were better set up defensively than Burnley, like you said, and it was a free kick that did it. And then as soon as you go 1-0 behind, you sort of have to push up a little bit further. And then I think it was a mistake that led to the second goal as well. So it wasn't down to tactics; it was down to individual errors and things that are out of your control. Well, Burnley, it seemed like there were things that they maybe could have done. They could have set up a little bit better against City. But next week's game is just going to be incredibly exciting to watch because you've got probably two of the best teams in Europe at the moment are going to come together and they're going to play against each other. It's going to be great.
Trent said that basically the first game back in Anfield couldn't have gone any better. Does this look like it's them going to be title champions, Harry? Like, is there any other way it's going to go?
I think City's still got a chance.
Well, what I'm saying is that like the City game is going to be probably where they clinch it. Is it going to go any other way? Because I can't see Liverpool.
No, to be fair,
to City.
I wouldn't be surprised if Chelsea get a point tonight. I wouldn't be surprised if Chelsea get a point tonight because Guardiola is a type of man that likes to rotate his team, especially with the FA Cup. He likes playing mind games, and I think to sort of not dampen Liverpool's parade, but if he plays sort of a second string team, they might get a point. And instead of Liverpool winning it for themselves, Chelsea win Liverpool's title. I know Liverpool obviously have won their own title due to record-breaking or to-be record-breaking season, but it just puts that slight dampener on it. But obviously Liverpool have been phenomenal season. You've seen at Anfield, without anyone, they still have the same level of motivation. You see their pressing game, you see the way they win the ball back. fans or no fans, they play the exact same way. It hasn't seemed to affect them whatsoever, and they just didn't let Palace in the game. I think it's the first time since stats was recorded in like 2008 or something ridiculous that a team didn't have a touch in the opposition box. Like since Zaha went off, or when Zaha went off, I'm not saying Zaha would have changed the game at all, but I'm saying, yeah, they just went defensive from that point onwards because they just genuinely didn't have another option or an outlet up front.
I mean, you think Zaha's probably their main creative force, and when you're playing against a defence as solid as Liverpool have been all season, you need your main creative players to have a good game, and to be taken off after 15 minutes, that's not going to help you at all trying to get out. And when you lose your best player, it just becomes more difficult, and they scored soon after as well from that free kick from Trent.
Yeah, it was a brilliant free kick, wasn't it? I was watching it, it was pinpoint really, wasn't it? I mean, you're not really going to stop that. But yeah, I was just looking at it, and the fact that Klopp has made that team all worth, like, if you had to actually guess how much those players were, I reckon anyone on that defence would go for big money, wouldn't they? And I think that they've obviously strengthened the midfield by buying quality. Henderson's come through well, and the front three are just unstoppable. They've just built a team where there is no weak link, whereas you look at City's and there is still a couple that aren't not world class, but do you know what I mean? There's still a little bit there that City need to patch up, where Liverpool just look like every player on that team won't let them down, won't they? Do you know what I mean?
I think City have that in a way as well. I think every player that City has is pretty much world class. And they could get into most like we talked about Leroy Sané a couple of days ago, ACL injury, not starting. He's probably going to be, when coming back, third or fourth choice winger, and he's still going to be going for about 50 million to Bayern Munich. Like they do have a squad of world class players. It's just this year Laporte's got injured. The centre backs haven't performed since Laporte got injured. And then it's been poor recruitment from City, basically. If they would have signed a centre-back to replace Vincent Kompany, then I'm sure it would have been closer this year. But they didn't, and that's been their problem. They haven't had a solid centre-back next to Laporte. And then when they've been without Laporte, and Liverpool have been quite lucky as well with injuries too. They haven't had any of their key players go down. So, yeah, it's credit to the backroom staff at Liverpool as well, and Klopp for rotating the side and making sure that no injuries do crop up.
I think that was my only point. I just think that City's defence has been a little bit too shaky at times to be considered as all four of them to be world class. I also think Klopp was a little bit believing his own hype in dropping a lot of CDMs to play that role rather than trusting players that may not play the system as well. Like, it seems strange that there was a couple players that he would much rather drop Fernandinho and sometimes Rodri into that centre-back role rather than centre-backs that were just sitting on the bench. Can you see any particular reason why he would trust those more than a natural centre-back?
Style of play. You're thinking if City, especially against like a Burnley side, they're going to be dominating the ball. I think they've got 73% possession. So they're just going to be dominating the ball, and they don't really have to deal with fast counter-attacks. And if you've got a player like Fernandinho who is confident on the ball, you look at the pass he did out to Kyle Walker for their third goal against Arsenal. He's confident on the ball. He can play those passes in behind and deep into the wingers, and that's, if you're going to be on the ball for the majority of the game, you want that to be able to cut open a defence. Do you think Burnley were just going to sit back for pretty much the entire 90 minutes, 4-4-2, and just sort of shift? And if you have centre-backs, I don't know about Otamendi and Stones, I know they're decent on the ball, but if you don't have that ability to switch the play quickly, you're not going to create those gaps to then get in behind and play that ball across like Guardiola's so well known to do, that little cutback and then a simple finish. And that's how City got a lot of their goals.
Yeah. Fair. Any other things to cover on the Liverpool game? Because I know it was a 4-0, wasn't it? Yeah. But it seemed like it was just no bother to Liverpool, wasn't it? Any other things that caught the eye from you guys?
The Salah pass for the fourth goal was beautiful. It was a really good ball in behind, and Mane got on it well. Fabinho's strike as well was class. Like, you don't expect that from a defensive midfielder, but he just rocked it into the back of the net.
That's very similar to his one against Manchester City as well. So when he's lining up, I'm thinking, is that a good idea? But then, obviously after quality, he's pinged that right in. Crystal Palace, though, I know it's a disappointing defeat today, or yesterday, sorry. Before that, they went 4 wins on the bounce without conceding. They're on 42 points, 2 ahead of Arsenal. Do they have an outside chance of getting Europa League? Up next, they got Burnley, Leicester, Chelsea, and then Aston Villa. So a bit of a mixed bag in terms of games.
Yeah, they do have an outside chance of getting European football, especially if Sheffield United start dropping off like it seems like they are going to do. And it does, I would say it would depend on Zaha, but to be fair, he's not actually been as influential as he has been in the last couple of seasons. He's got 3 goals and 3 assists in their 31 appearances. So if he's out for a while, then yeah, you can see a problem. But yeah, it didn't look too big of an injury. He managed to walk off the pitch, so I wouldn't have thought it was a massive injury. They've got a good outside push of getting there.
Yeah, well, we talked about Sheffield United. Shall we move on to that game? And Anthony Martial's hat-trick was the difference between the two sides. Rashford also could have got 2, but he messed up his 2 chances. We talked about Sheffield United quite a lot in the podcast, but we're going to talk about them again, and then them specifically. They're only 2 points ahead of Palace, 3 points over Everton, and 4 points ahead of Arsenal. Are they going to drop off because they're not playing well? They had a good period in the second half after the second half of the first half after the water break, but they didn't do anything, to be honest. They really didn't do anything.
Another game where they've only had 1 shot on target as well.
Evidently, Mikey, I'm trying to get my first point in, all right?
Jamie hasn't said anything. Mikey has said answered everything. Poor Jamie.
I'll be quiet, mate. I'll be quiet.
I'm trying to get in so many times. Mikey's put my hand up ready. Anyway, all right? Evidently, Sheffield United have had the same form since before the coronavirus outbreak. And the fixtures they've got ahead of them aren't necessarily the easiest. Coming up against Tottenham, Burnley, Wolverhampton, Chelsea and Leicester. All rivals contending for those European places. You could also argue Southampton in the last game of the season could also possibly... they could also be battling for those places by that point. So their games will be very crucial to the outcome of the Europa League or possibly Champions League football if they get that 5th position if anything happens. Which you could argue they're challenging for before this break, but I don't see them getting their form back in time to collect that again.
Well put. Realistically, what do you think would be a success for Sheffield United? Because they've done so well and occupied that European space for so long, but now they seem like they are dropping off a little bit. Even if they do get top half, that's surely still got to be a massive positive for the club, right?
Yeah, I mean, considering most people put them to go down at the start of the season, like it is a very good year for them. No matter what the outcome is, because they'll probably stay up anyway. So it's a good season for them, and hopefully they can push on. I think they missed Egan, who got sent off against Newcastle. I think when they played Villa, we talked about the overlapping centre-backs, and they played Phil Jagielka in their defence. He just doesn't have the ability to go up and down the pitch like he used to. I don't think he ever did. So it does change the tactics, it's changed the system, and I mean United, their attack looks scary. So I don't think that helped either.
Sorry. Here you go.
Okay, fair enough. I was going to say that can Martial actually lead that lineup from top? Because obviously we've seen him score a hat-trick, which has been the first time for a long time for Man United. And Martial either seems quality on his day or sometimes he can go missing. But I think they do need to rely on a striker that can get them those goals. Can he do that for Man United? Can he get those 15, 20 goals that they need from a striker?
I really believe he can, because it shows United have finally got their system not played down to a T. They scored 3 passes. There was the joint best defence in the league behind Liverpool and Sheffield United. And it shows that they're finally getting there. You could argue, yes, they didn't have Dean Henderson in goal. However, 3 pass that defence, it shows the team United have quality and how finally they're getting their tactics right and they can actually play well. I can see United pushing on into the top 4 easily in this season.
Fair enough.
I think the best thing about Martial, it's his best scoring season. I think 14 in the league. I think the best thing about it is not scored worldies. All of his goals came within the 6 yards, 8 yards sort of area, and the fact that he's in the right positions. He's in the right positions as a number 9 to get those sorts of goals. So I think, yeah, he can be the man to lead the line. Rashford, how was his performance? Because he didn't score. He did fluff 2 chances, but he did get two well-worked assists as well. First one, he smashed across the box, good thinking. And then the second one, it was just a nicely weighted pass to Martial, who dinked it over the goalkeeper.
Yeah, he had a good performance. It's a shame that he wasn't rewarded with the goal. But yeah, he's I mean, coming back from a back injury, you're expecting a little bit longer for him to come back. But he seemed like he was on full speed on his comeback. And yeah, he had a good game.
Okay. Do we want to talk about the rest of the games? So obviously we talked about Man United, Sheffield United, we talked about Liverpool. But...
they weren't the most interesting, so we'll quickly fire through them. The third high scoring one, which is a 1-1 draw, Newcastle versus Aston Villa. Gale and Carroll both come off the bench to link up and open the scoring. Probably not the combination you'd expect with Carroll, the man, to cross it in or pass it into Gale, who finished it off for his first of the season. Where do you think Newcastle fans are slowly, coming closer to Steve Bruce? They're playing, I'd say, a better brand of football, even though it's not that great compared to last season. They're getting the results. Even if the takeover does or doesn't happen, do you think, the first thought of Steve Bruce, which was a bad one in the Newcastle perspective, is slowly changing?
I don't know. I think it's quite even in the fact that they're happy where they are, but they want to push on, and it's whether Steve Bruce is the right manager to push a club forward. Because I can't remember him like the last time he was at a club. I can't remember him pushing up the table. He's always been quite a solid mid-table manager. He's never been someone to push for Europe, and I think that's where Newcastle want to be. I think also with the brand of football, you look at the squad that Benitez had last year compared to the squad this year. Benitez didn't have a £40 million striker. He didn't have Alan Saint-Maximin. He's got a bit more quality to work with as well. So I think that's why the brand of football has also been better.
Yeah. I think it's just what they're trying to push for, isn't it? Really, like if they're trying to invest by solidifying where they are, but if they want to start trying to push up to European, they're going to need to have the quality to bring that in. So you're probably going to have to see the investment on the players' side first, see if Steve Bruce can get the most out of them, and if that's not a correct partnership, maybe they might have to think about it. But he's doing a decent job for them, and I think there's no reason, if new investors come in and it's the same team, then maybe just keep the same manager who's kind of doing an all right job with them, really. I don't think there's too much a new manager can do with the exact same squad. He's been there for a year. He's got them at a decent place at 13th, and they're doing all right. I don't think it's necessary to just chop because you've got new investors or whatever.
As you say that, though, I know I'm going to be talking about Southampton, but when Adkins was in, he was doing a decent job with the same set of players that Poch then had for another year, and Poch managed to push a squad that was going to be finishing 16th, 15th, or maybe even getting relegated, to then pushing on and finishing 8th. And that's a manager, if they can get Pochettino in, a manager like him can push a squad forward just with the style of play. There are limitations to what managers can do, even with the same set of players. And Pochettino just has that extra push that I think he can do to get Newcastle at the table, even with the same set of players.
Do you think they're more likely to back Pochettino than they are Steve Bruce as well? Because of his records, Right, looking at the opposition dugout, and Aston Villa gained a point from coming behind, and now they're equal 27 points on Bournemouth. So just a win. We'll see them at the relegation zone. But the fact is they've got Wolves, Liverpool, Manchester United, Crystal Palace and Everton in their next few fixtures. So despite the fact they got a point and they're closer, do you think that's also 2 points drops? Because I can't see them picking up points in the next few games.
They did well to get a point back, though. because Newcastle are one of the sides that they get a 1-0 and then they'll sort of just drop off and try and keep it. So to get a point against them is a good feat to have. However, with the next fixtures coming up, probably it's not looking bright for Villa, to be fair.
But we're all big fans of Villa in this podcast, so we are hoping for them to stay up.
Yes.
Can I question that? Like, where's that coming from? Just so I know.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And it's just a bit of a banter because I've been backing Villa last few podcasts to stay up. But realistically, if you look at their fixtures, they have got Wolverhampton Wanderers, Liverpool, Man United, Palace, Everton, Arsenal, and West Ham. And it is not looking bright for them. However, I still believe they can make it out. With a bit of luck and intuition, we can back Villa.
Not choosing to listen to Harry?
No, I didn't hear what he said. He said after Harry said, do you reckon they'll back Pochettino more than they'll back Steve Bruce? Is kind of when I wasn't listening anymore.
Fantastic.
What a waste of a minute. I mean, we just listened to the same thing Harry said and you just repeated it again.
I was laughing the whole time. I just can't believe how...
Shall we move on?
Yes. Go on then. What game do you want to cover then? Do you want to go for a enthralling 1-0 for Everton or an enthralling 1-0 for Wolves? What would you prefer?
Both were exciting as each other, weren't they?
Jamie, you can decide, mate.
Let's talk about Wolves game.
Yeah. What's your reaction to the Wolves game?
Oh, Harry. Well, I watched the 3-minute highlight and there was nothing shown by Bournemouth effectively. We kind of sums up the whole game when you look at the statistics of the match with 46% of aerials won by the Wolves compared to the 53% of Bournemouth.
That always shows a team, doesn't it? Well, if you look at Bournemouth, I think they had an XG of 0.06 compared to quite a high one from Wolves. They had 4 shots and none on target. They're not showing really any life. They played one up front. They started Junior Stanislas, who I believe got his 3rd start of the season. And they're on 27 points, so the results around them were quite kind in the fact of winning their next game, they're back out the relegation zone. But it's not looking good for Bournemouth in both fronts, really.
There's also Wolves just being clinical again. There were 2 shots on target in the entire game, and both of them were for Wolves. And Jimenez is just proving why he is like one of the highest rated strikers in the Premier League. Why he's being linked away with moves to like Man United and Tottenham. And yeah, Wolves were just too solid at the back and a little bit too clinical up top for Bournemouth to handle.
So I think Traore finding assist has been really helpful as well. And I know he's been linked away as well. So if one of those two do go away, do you think that partnership could be broken up and cause a problem? Or do you believe in Wolves' recruitment to be able to find another person to fulfil that gap?
I'm not too sure.
Let's say I'm pretty sure we covered this last week. I'm pretty sure we covered this last week. We said that even if 2 players of Wolverhampton leave, they still got a whole big squad around them that are quality players. So I don't think it would affect them too drastically.
Yeah, but Nuno doesn't really like to. He's got his best players and he just plays them, doesn't he? He doesn't really rotate them around too much. So I'm guessing
it could be said that they got. Yeah, they could be decided that they got sort of fortunate with Adama Traore because he was sort of a traveller in the English leagues, and the fact that he started with Middlesbrough, went to Aston Villa, and then went to Wolves. With the previous 2 clubs, he didn't really do too much, but he had the physical attributes that work in the Premier League, and he's found that form, you could say, in the Premier League, and the fact that the last 2 games he's got 2 assists, 2 of the exact same assists, and I think him and Jimenez have linked up 10 on 10 occasions this season. So it's close to. I think it's close to the record that Sutton and Shearer have with 14. So it's going to be difficult to replace him. I think Nuno said that he doesn't know about his future if he's going to go to Liverpool or not. But is he replaceable? Yes, because you don't know. This could be a bit of a purple patch for him, or it could be the start of him actually kicking on and actually getting the end product that he didn't have in the previous 4 seasons.
Also, if they keep with the same formation that they're currently playing, Diego Jota's still there, Pedro Neto's coming through, and he's quite young as well, and he's doing well. Daniel Pondance is also there too. So they do have multiple options if Traore does go. Jimenez would be a bigger loss, though, because they don't really have someone like him to play. So he would be a bigger loss than Traore, I would say.
Fair enough. Do we want to talk about the Everton-Norwich game?
Well,
1-0.
Michael Keane scored.
Yeah.
I mean, that did
That
happen,
happened.
yes.
Yes, Mikey, well done.
I didn't really watch it because it was probably the least of the games that I wanted to watch. I think I chose well with the Man United-Sheffield United game. I think this one kind of got left behind for me, really.
I mean, there were more shots on target than the Wolves-Bournemouth game, so that's a positive.
Hey, Mikey, there was 5 on Everton's shot on target and 1 from Norwich. It just shows
Yes, there was.
class.
Yeah.
And another cool stat for you, Everton won 63% aerial duels compared to Norwich's 36.
That is 2 on the bounce where they've won the aerial duels and they've won the game, to be
Harry,
fair.
the thing is, I think we spoke about this off camera, but arguably winning your aerial duels does make a difference between relegation and staying in the league, and it shows that's why Everton are higher up the league than Norwich.
I think I missed that.
What are you talking about?
I missed that.
Yannick Vestergaard's got one of the highest aerial duels in the league. He's won the highest percentage of aerial duels or something like that. He doesn't start for Southampton.
No.
So
It's unfair. It's unfair in other teams. That's why. It's not
What are you talking about? What have you had in your breakfast?
I haven't. That's a problem.
Delirious. God. Right, so a 1-0 win for Everton. Will they be happy with that, or would they want a couple past Norwich? Because what I've seen from Norwich, they've been pretty poor from the restart.
A win's a win, but I was confused about Norwich, to be honest with you, because they dropped Cantwell, Buendia, Tribal, Pookie. You know, that's 4 of their key players this season. They're fighting to stay up, and now they've got it was a winnable game because every game's winnable, and I think they're the team that's got the highest percentage of points from home games this season. So you'd have thought they would have went out and tried to win the game. And to be honest with you, with that sort of lineup, are they resting for the FA Cup against Manchester United, where they might think that winning the FA Cup is probably more likely than them staying up, which is harsh, but it's probably true at the same time. It doesn't look good for Norwich. But on the side of Everton, you know, they're only just outside Europa League places. Do you think they've got a chance? Because they're near Crystal Palace. I think they're just below Crystal Palace. So I think they've got a chance of getting the Europa League or a Europa League spot.
I don't know about Everton because they're such a on and off team. Like 1 week they could perform amazingly, the next week they could be god awful. So it's Everton's a slightly tougher one to predict. They've got a chance if they can string a couple of fixtures together. If Calvert-Lewin can try and regain the form that he had before the lockdown break thing, then yeah, they do have a chance.
Yeah. Fair play. Okay. Well, we've got 3 games tonight. We've got Burnley, Watford, which is okay. Southampton, Arsenal. So Orange team Southampton going up against Arsenal. It should be an interesting one. Will Arsenal bounce back? It'll be interesting to see. And then, of course, we've got the all-important Chelsea, Man City on BT Sports, on Sky Sports, which will basically decide whether Liverpool win it today or it will go to the Liverpool Man City game. So, Tiz, you reckon City will have a draw? What do you reckon then, a 1-1?
Yeah, I think Chelsea enjoy being the party poopers, and I think that's what's going to happen today. I think it'll probably be a draw because I don't think Manchester City want to. Obviously, they're not going to want to lose the game, but it sounds weird, but I think they're going to rest to say if we do draw the game, then we don't want to draw. But if we do, that's not the worst thing because it means that Liverpool can't win the title at the Etihad. If they win it before that. If they win
Quite a strange mentality, though, isn't it? When they have to give a guard of honour to Liverpool, isn't that potentially worse?
Guardiola is not the type of manager. I don't think he's the type of person to back off from a game. He wants to win every game. He wants 100% and he wants perfection. Yeah. And I don't think that he will be the type of guy to go, oh, Liverpool might be able to win it at the Etihad. We don't want that. Because surely one of the things that they want to do is to prevent them from winning it at the Etihad. that will be one of the best thing, like, to turn the season around would be we beat Liverpool. We are the team that stopped them from winning it at our place, and I think Guardiola would prefer that, like, to keep it going as long as he possibly can, instead of just roll over for Chelsea.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it works, but if they did win it, if say Chelsea did beat City, would Liverpool then lift it at the Etihad?
No.
No,
I'm not
they
sure how it
lift it at
works.
If it was the final day of the season, they would, but because they've got plenty of games left, I don't know if it's the first home game or if it's the last home game. They would do it.
Okay.
But yeah, they do it. They do it at Anfield.
Yeah, but I'm right in saying that they would have to give a guard of honour, won't they? If they
don't get a win out of Chelsea tonight, they would have to give a guard of honour at the Etihad. Yeah,
which I think would wind Pep right up. Yeah, I don't think Pep's going to tactically think about it, because I think he's going to be an optimist and think, let's beat Chelsea and let's take 3 points off Liverpool and make that gap even smaller, isn't he? I think he's not going to try and think, let's tactically not get beaten by Liverpool, because I just don't think that's how he thinks.
The guard of honour would look very strange though, because that'd be quite far apart.
2 meters, they're good.
Yeah.
Very wide guard of honour, isn't it?
Yeah, it'd be the widest guard of honour they've ever seen. It's lots of records being broken this season by Liverpool. It is quite impressive. Widest guard of honour. So City never had that.
I thought you were going to give us some stats there, but
I mean,
which one is the widest? The widest ever guard of honour was 3.6 meters between the players and the one in the centre. But
oh man. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll cover those games tomorrow, so make sure you join the roundup for us. Then we can go through.
Not going to do a prediction. Go on. We need predictions of all the games. Burnley, Watford. What are we going to say? Because I don't.
I want Watford to stay up, so I'm going for Watford 1-0.
Fair enough.
I'm going to go 0-0 because I can't see either team be able to break each other down.
Fair enough.
Harry? 1-0 Watford.
Yes, Tiers are.
Sneak it. Watford are going to sneak it.
Fair enough. Southampton, Arsenal, what do people reckon? Oh, what do I reckon? Yeah, no, all right. I reckon 2-2. I reckon 2-2.
3-0 either way. One team's going to get battered, and I don't know which way it's going to go. So I think it's going to be 3-0 to one of the teams.
No, you've got to say who you think it's going to be, because otherwise that's just pathetic.
That's not a prediction. That's
Harry just said 1-0 Watford a second ago as well. Just changing his answer.
No, not to, this. We're talking about the Saints game, mate.
But you really need your breakfast.
He's not listening.
Dear.
This is an absolute disgrace. It's made a mockery of this ending.
Okay, right. 3-0 to who?
Oh yeah, because the rest of the podcast hasn't been mockery, has it?
I'm saying 2-1 Southampton.
You could tell which team we support. Mike,
statistically, we are correct. Because I think
who's won the most aerial duels? Because that really matters.
That is a good one. We've got Shane Long on our
thing is, I'm a Stoke fan.
That shows how many aerial duels we've won. So it's whether Mustafi can deal with Shane Long. That's going to be the problem. So I'm going to say 3-0 in a Shane Long hat-trick.
Mustafi, if Shane Long gets onto the pitch.
He can jump higher than Mustafi. So that's just...
Not when he's on the bench.
He's not going to be benched because he didn't play over the weekend.
Oh man! Right, we might as well talk about Chelsea City. I reckon City will do it. I reckon it'll be a 3-1 City.
2-0 City. I say.
I go 2-1 City.
It's going to be 2-2 either way for me.
Fair enough. All right, decent. Okay, well, see tomorrow, see if we are correct with our choices, see how games went, and hear our verdicts on them as well. Make sure you subscribe if you're on YouTube, or if you're on your podcast host, make sure you subscribe to that as well. And we'll see you next time. Say goodbye, Harry.
Goodbye, Harry.
Mikey, do you want to say goodbye?
Bye.
And Jamie.
Goodbye from your favourite host of the In the Stands podcast. Thank you all for listening. Hope you have a wonderful day.